Good morning and welcome to the northeast corner of beautiful South Africa, where another glorious dawn has broken, casting a golden light over a magnificent herd of elephants. You are on a live safari. This is unedited and unfettered from the African wilderness. 8 million acres we're in the middle of perfect African wilderness. My name is James Hendry, on camera is Bryan, and this is Safari Live.
Welcome to the magnificent Djuma and Arathusa Game Reserves here in the famous Sabi Sands. It's part of the Greater Kruger National Park in northeastern South Africa. About the same size as New Jersey, it's home to all Africa's iconic animals. This is Safari Live. It's 6 a.m, dawn has just broken. My name is Hayden Turner and we've got an amazing adventure for you. I've got 2 vehicles out, a bushwalk, a drone in the sky, and we've had trackers out before dawn. If you want to communicate with us, it's hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. You have just gotten on the biggest safari vehicle on the planet. We're going to cross over to Scott on bushwalk. Let's see what he's up to.
Good morning everyone and welcome to the bushwalk. My name's Scott Dyson and it's a great pleasure to have you here with me. We're looking at some fresh elephant dung, quite applicable because you have just been with James and some elephant. What a great start to the safari. Now looking at this, you can see it's quite moist. There's a few little bugs already floating around it, but it's not too fresh for us to be concerned about. I've felt the temperature of the dung. And don't be grossed out by this. It's just vegetable matter, lots of different plants and leaves and bark that they fed on. And it's quite cold. So probably early last night, these elephants moved through here. I can also see further behind us is a little patch of urine. And this patch of urine doesn't have any foam on it. It doesn't look too fresh. And it's incredibly important to really take note of your surroundings when walking through the bush, because these animals can be potentially dangerous, especially herds of elephant with young calves that they'll protect. So we're going to be very cautious while on the bushwalk and make sure that we don't startle any animals. Don't worry though, we know what we're doing and look forward to catching up with you a little bit later. We are going to continue on moving through the bush, seeing what small things we can find you, and hopefully it won't be too long before you're back with us. But back to James and enjoy the elephants.
Hello everyone, we're still with this magnificent herd. They're just grazing through the woodland here, well, browsing mainly, eating a whole lot of leaves, and of course it is early summer, and so it is in this part of the world of course. You sitting in North America are starting to chill up a bit, sorry about that, but here the early summer is in full verdant flush, and by verdant I mean everything is turned beautifully green. Now the elephants are very happy about the situation, because it's not ideal for them in the winter time when there is not a lot in the way of greenness for them to eat. But this morning They are very pleasantly eating their way through here. There are two young bulls here having a little bit of a fight, which is quite interesting. In fact, it's very interesting. Beautiful. I'm just going to sneak in the middle here so that we can have a good look at them. Oh, look at that. That's great. These are like two young teenage boys just trying to sort out who's the strongest and who will give up first. If you imagine two 16 or 17-year-old boys, human beings having a bit of a fight, just a bit of a kind of a play tussle, but there's definitely some seriousness in that. They're trying to find out who's the most dominant. This is wonderful to see. And there's another young bull trying to get in on the act. Oh. And he shakes his head like that to show us that he's a very impressive animal. And then because he's not an adult yet, he turns around and sticks his tail out because he's a little embarrassed that we didn't run away in fear. And look at the way that beautiful dust shines gold as they move. And he's trying to get in on the act. And I was just telling you about the fact that it's beautiful early summer here, and it's 22 degrees Celsius if you are anywhere in the world that uses the metric system, and that's about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Very, very pleasant morning, and there's nothing, I tell you, quite like the feeling of the African dawn sun on your face in the morning. I'm just going to get a little bit closer to these fellows as they tussle, and just to let you know how perhaps you've never seen an elephant before. Elephants live in a matriarchal herd with the females and closely related females and their youngsters, and then the big bulls live on their own. And then a very nice question. Now remember, we are entirely interactive and live, which means you could talk to us on Twitter at #SafariLive, and it is really nice to hear from you. And we have a question from Bastian. Thank you, Bastian, for your question. It's a good one. What do elephant bulls fight over? Bastian, elephant bulls fight for the same reasons that human beings fight, you know, when they're this age anyway. It's just to kind of get over who's dominant and who's not. There are important lessons that they learn through play fighting. It's like two teenagers having a little bit of a wrestle. And that's basically what it is. There's nothing serious going on here. When they get older, of course, they also, a bit like humans, will start to fight over the ladies. And those can be a lot more vicious, those fights. Certainly the big bulls are hugely impressive, 6 tons of animal. And in pounds, that's more than, say, 13 or 14,000 pounds of elephant flesh. And when they get into a tussle over an estrus female, it's particularly, it's vicious, and it is a gigantic affair that occurs out here. I'm just going to sneak a little bit further forward. Thank you, Bastian, for your question. Excellent one. And just remember, everyone, if you want to ask us a question, we do love to hear from you. #SafariLive. We are very live and very interactive. Lots going on in this reserve. Stop here quickly. I have parked a little bit behind a tree, but I'm hoping they're going to come into this gap. And thank you very much to Lynn in Michigan. You've said that you heard lions calling from Arethusa last night. Now everyone, perhaps if you're new to this live safari malarkey, which basically just means fun, we do have live cameras throughout various wildlife hotspots in the world. One of them is at Arethusa Dam, which is not far from here, just to the west of us, also part of the Greater Kruger National Park. And Lynn, you heard lions calling there. Thank you for that update. We will go and see if we can follow up on those a little bit later. There is a tracking team out now trying to find out if those lions are around. Right, I am going to speed speed out of here, well, with as much politeness to these elephants as I can. Apparently the lions have been spotted just to the south of here, so I'm going to try and get there as soon as possible, and I will see you a little bit later.
Well, good morning everyone, and big welcome to Africa. It's beautiful out here, elephants around already, as you can see, lots of things happening, and looking forward to a lovely morning. We're actually just looking for another herd of elephant that we heard in this area, and as you know from James, potential for lioness this morning, or lion. Lots of things to look for. That's what we heard. Guys, welcome on safari. It's going to be a stunning morning. My name is Pieter Pretorius. Liam is with me on the camera. Let's go look around, and thank you so much for joining us. Some elllies. I just want to see, it's always great when you arrive at a herd of elephant, because you sort of have to, oh, there's a tiny baby. I just saw a flash of it. But it's very important the first minute or two just to sort of introduce yourself gently to the group. You don't want to just come barging in here. So let's take a seat on that corner, and then we give them a minute or so just to get used to us, and then we can infiltrate right into the herd. I love breeding herds because you can literally do that. You can get yourself to a point where you can be inside the herd. Of course, this gives us also a bit of time for questions. Look at that. Beautiful. That's one of the younger females in the group. Fantastic. There's a big female I can see as well. This looks like quite a nice sized breeding herd and a playful youngster. Hello, mister. I love baby elllies, by the way. It's one of my favorite things to see in the bush. Let's go a little bit closer here. Morning, Robert. Robert's just asking whether a cobra or a bite from a venomous snake could kill an elephant. Highly unlikely, even to the point that they probably won't even bite through the skin, Robert. Elephants will normally just chase snakes off if they do see them. Right towards the east here. It's about half an hour after sunrise here in southern Africa, and it's a beautiful time of the day. Still have that golden light. It's still nice and cool. Always possible to find your predators as well. Lions, leopard are still very active early morning. Elephants are active most of the day actually. They can feed for 16, 18 hours depending on the conditions. And early morning you often find that especially the young elephant can be quite playful because it's nice and cool. They have that excitement in the bush, the birds calling. If you listen just now, you'll hear the francolins and all the different sounds. I can hear a crested barbet in the distance. What a place to be right now. Just get a feeling for this group, at the same time allowing them to get a feeling for us. Oh, there's a nice big male at the back. I'm just going to go a little forward. Look at the little one. That's the youngest one in the group. I think that's probably about 2 months, 3 months old. Morning, Mo, all the way out of Chicago. Beautiful city, Chicago. It's one of my favorite cities in the US. Asking if the elephants wouldn't attack us if they smell us. Mo, firstly, these elephants are quite used to us. Let me just swing around here. Behind us here, we've got 2 young bulls coming up. Now, they can be great fun. They're sort of at that teenager stage. Mo, so even if they smell us or see us, they know that we're not here to bother them, so they're not going to want to attack us. It's only really if you disrespect them or annoy them or do something that might make them feel uncomfortable or scared even. Most animals don't want to attack other things. They don't want to fight. They don't want to risk injury. There's too many other things. You have to find food and survive and do all your things. Unnecessary confrontation is avoided mostly. I just love the sounds in the bush. I mean, one of the best sounds, obviously, branches breaking from big animals. Lions roaring. Early this morning, we could hear lions roaring. Oh, brilliant. James is asking us there. Morning, James. what age do young elephants leave the herd? Like those two we just saw, they'd be at that sort of beginning stages of it. Okay, guys, see, we've had a bit of time with these elephants now, so I'm going to just put us in a slightly better position. There's a nice big bull at the back. Awesome. And so those young bulls sort of in their teens, 12, 14, 15, they start to leave the herd. Oh, this is stunning. That's a big bull to the right-hand side. And the big one sort of more to the front and to the left towards us. That's one of the adult females, perhaps even the matriarch. Oh, stunning. Elephant herds are run by matriarchs or led by matriarchs. Guys, this is amazing. This bull, oh no, I thought he's in must. He's not in must. He's just got nice sets of tusks. He's got a little bit of some temporal secretion if you look on the side of his face. Great to have so many questions. It's always nice when the vehicle is having a conversation with us. This guy is going to be very impressive. Look at this. He's walking right up in front of us. Ears open. Big stance. Having a little look at us. This guy would be in his late 20s if I look at him. Maybe even, not early 30s, maybe late 20s. 27, 28. He's just got exceptional tusks for his age. Be interesting to see him when he's in his prime, when he's reaching 40, 45 maybe. He'll be huge. Connor just asking there, what age do elephants live to? Well, it depends on many things, but in a nutshell, 60, 55, 60 would be a good old age for an elephant in the wild. Depends a lot on the kind of food they eat. There goes that big bull. We're moving into some thick stuff over to our right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay with these elephants. I want to integrate more into the group, see that baby another time. But for now, HT is going to tell you some more things from the safari tent. We'll see you back here in a bit.
Lions, everyone loves lions, and there's a really interesting situation happening on the reserves. Two lions, the Matimba males, reign over two prides. The Styx pride, 3 females and 3 cubs, and the Nkuhumas, 8 females and 1 young male. Lion society is quite complex, and particularly in this situation right here. I think the best way for me to explain it even better is to come and have a look at this. It's April 2015. And autumn has arrived here in Djuma Game Reserve. These two magnificent lions, known as the Matimba males, have dominated their territory unchallenged for the last few years. Inside their territory are 2 prides, both of which are protected by the Matimba males. The Nkuhuma pride is a large group made up of 8 lionesses and 1 young male. With so many mouths to feed, they are forced to pursue dangerous prey animals like the African buffalo. In the south, the Styx pride of 2 lionesses and their 3 young cubs occupy a territory under the Matimba males, the cubs' fathers. This pride lives blissful existence, and for the cubs, every day is an adventure. Mating rights go to these dominant males. But lion social life is seldom stable for long. Pushing in from the north are 5 young males known as the Birmingham boys. They threaten a territorial takeover, which will be a disaster for our prides here in the south. So, very, very complex, and James is en route to see those lions right now. This is what's so exciting about this. Everyone's everywhere, and we're going to go over to Scott and see what he's got on the bushwalk.
Welcome back, everyone, and we've heard something. I've just heard it again. Some kind of a snorting up ahead. Let's go and see what it is. I'm testing the wind with my ash bag, filled with old ash from our campfire, and it's in our favor. I think it could be wildebeest, but let's get a bit closer. very happy that you've got to meet some of our local lion residents, and hopefully you'll get to see some live shortly. It sounds like James may be hot on their trail. It's so great to have you on this live bushwalk, and never in my wildest dreams did I think that I'd ever be taking people around on a walk through Africa. It's really exciting stuff, but we've got to keep calm and make sure we don't run into any trouble. That's why I'm going to keep testing the wind. It was actually wildebeest. Take a closer look. You can see some up ahead through there. And this is a blue wildebeest. It's the only wildebeest we get in this part of South Africa. And that's a youngster that you're looking at there. Its horns haven't developed quite properly yet. And we're going to be sending you to a short break, and you'll be back with us on safari shortly. Okay, so we've just sent the TV audience on a quick ad break, but we're going to continue on the walk. So let's go and see what happens next. It sounds like there's quite a few wildebeest around here. Jean-Ray, watch your antenna there. There's a branch overhanging. Jean-Ray's got a long antenna sticking up from his backpack, as a lot of you will know. Just going to stop here and see if Jean-Ray can't get you some shots of the one wildebeest that's following the rest of the herd. They seem to be moving in a northerly direction on this beautiful, beautiful morning here in the Sabi Sands. There it goes. It's just stopped to have a look at us. Maybe that's the big bull who's coming to make sure his ladies are all safe. And look, it's coming right up to us, just to make sure that we're not a threat. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to creep down onto the ground here and see if that doesn't make it feel a little bit more comfortable. There we go. Just making sure we're not a threat. You can probably hear that nasal snort that they let out, and that's the wildebeest's alarm call, very similar to a zebra's alarm call, actually. I can also hear a grey-headed bushshrike in the distance calling out. Oh, great stuff. We're not going to put too much pressure on these wildebeest, so what we're going to do is probably just keep moving alongside them. Oh, let's try and get a silhouette. I'm dropping Jean-Ray into... Oh, no, it flew off. It looks like two African hawk eagles that flew off, but always worth taking a chance to get you some good views. It looks like these wildebeest have actually kind of begun to get used to our presence, so we might just linger around close to them with the intention of not giving them a big fright. As you are well aware, they all know that we're here now. And we should hopefully be able to stay with them for a few more minutes. It's such a unique angle getting to see them on foot. And it gives you a much better idea of how big they are. So I'm just chatting with Nikki. Quick, Nikki, if you don't mind just going again with your message, Evan, copy that clearly. Nikki's in final control. No, Nix, you can stay with us. Stay with us is good. So Nikki's just finding out if she should stay with us or link to another vehicle. But I think we are going to still have a good view of these wildebeest. Just going to try and get into a good spot. We're going to be bringing our TV audience back in the next minute or so, and we want to get them back with a good start with some animals. Oh, good news, there's some zebra here. Even better. What I'm probably going to do is wait right here. Jean-Ray, how's that looking? And now we're hearing a combination of zebras and wildebeest alarm calling. welcome back everyone, and we've got some good news. It's not only a herd of wildebeest that we're with. You may see some stripes of one of Africa's most iconic animals, the zebra. And I'm just going to try and creep forward a bit. They've moved off, and I'm going to see if I can get us into a slightly better position. They are such incredible animals, and would like to get you some good views of them in this beautiful morning sunlight. Now I'm checking the wind just to make sure we know what's going on. I'm not concerned for our safety with these animals, because it's highly unlikely that they will try and attack us. But we may not know what is lurking nearby. And that's just an example of how it's important to keep aware of your surroundings. Oh, here they all go. Maybe Jean-Andre might be able to get you one last shot of them all running off. It's not going to be easy. Beautiful. Look at all the dust getting kicked up by their hooves. It's very dry, and we are actually experiencing a bit of a drought at the moment, so don't be fooled by all the green you can see. It's a lot drier than it usually is at this time of the year. Now, I've been mentioning that we do have to be aware of our surroundings, what's going on. It is potentially dangerous to be on foot. And Lisa in Clarksville would like to know if we have a weapon nearby. And yes, we do. Stefan, a very experienced trails guide who's been working on foot in Africa for over 15 years, is with us. And he's just behind us, carrying a weapon. But it's highly unlikely that we'd have to use it, and it's a matter of last resort. I guess like anything in life, if you know your surroundings and you know your environment, they become a lot safer. And I'm sure a lot of you would probably be able to guide me through your home cities far more safely than I would be able to move through them alone, as I would be able to take you through the bush safely, because it's my home, it's where I've grown up, and I feel very comfortable here. I think we're going to get a few more good views of these zebra and wildebeest. What I'm going to do is probably just crouch down a little bit further up ahead here. And you should get another good view. There's two zebra standing just up ahead of us here. And we've got a funny comment that's just come through from Kim saying that, aren't wildebeest a member of the ugly five? And I guess they could be. They are also referred to as the spare parts animal, as they have quite a strange makeup. The zebra, however, that you're looking at are certainly not a member of the ugly five. They are absolutely wonderful animals, and in this morning sunlight, I'm sure you're getting some great views. Now, just to keep you guys updated, Kim is obviously a bit of a safari extraordinaire and knows that there's also the big five, which are five of the most important animals that people like to see when they come out on safari in Africa. You've been lucky enough to already see one member of the big five, the elephant. There's also the rhino, the buffalo, the lion, and the leopard. And who knows how many more of those you will get to see. Potentially some lion a little bit later. Like I said, I think James is hot on the lion's trail. And I guess the best way to find how close he is to them is actually jump onto his vehicle and ask him yourselves. So we're going to send you over to him. Enjoy the update, and I hope it's not too long before he finds them for you.
Hello everybody, high adrenaline stuff here. We came down to this part of the reserve and we spotted just the black pom-pom of a lion's tail coming through here, and then we had to get through the drainage line in this vehicle. Very clever vehicle it is too. And now we're stuck in, well, we're not stuck, but we're in the middle of some pretty thick bush here, trying to maneuver our way around and see if we can't find her. She was roaring earlier this morning, which means she's being quite territorial about, of course, that they do melt into the bush if they want to, especially when it's as thick as this. So what we're going to do is carry on through here. These vehicles, of course, do push over the odd tree, but the trees generally pop up behind us, and as you can see, there's quite an abundance of trees. So we're going to gently ease our way through here and see if we can't find sight of this beautiful lioness. Just like I say, all I saw was a pom-pom on the end of her tail, that lovely black... Oh, hang on. Here we go. Okay, we're getting an update on the radio. They're apparently just up here near the power lines. We're going to carry on here. Now, just watch your heads, everyone. Lift your coffees or teas or snifters or whatever it is you have on your lap off your laps, and don't spill. It's going to get a little bit bumpy in here. Apparently, there's a little road up here where she's just popped out. So we'll do our best to get in there without causing too much noise. Apologies again if there is any kind of scraping, like that scraping noise. Now watch your heads here. Don't get caught on any thorns. Bryan, watch out. Bryan, of course, is as tall as a giraffe, and so he is likely to be decapitated if I'm not very careful. That's a white berry bush there. Makes very nice fruit in the summertime. This is a cumbritum tree. It will pop up behind us, fear not. And now apparently this lioness is heading towards this little road over here. Easing through here. Right. I'm just going to quickly peep around the corner here and see if she isn't on this little road. And if she isn't, I'm going to hand you back to Hayden, who will tell you a bit about more about this incredible lion dynamics that are going on here in this little part of paradise that we call home. I don't see her here. We're going to head across to Hayden. I'm going to keep up the search. I'll see you a little bit later.
Well, while James is down there looking for that female, I wanted to bring you up to speed with a bit more of the lion story. The Birmingham boys, 5 males. These boys mean business, but at the moment we're just trying to find out where they are. A backstory about them: when I first met them, they were about 3.5 years of age, and that was about 12 months ago. Now, a year later, they actually are starting to mean business, and they were flying under the radar of the Matimba males there, but now they're actually feeling more educated and more powerful. And the reason behind that is because they are 5 lions, and it's called a coalition. A coalition is a group of males that have joined forces to improve their power and success. They're usually, not always, but usually related males from a pride that have been pushed out through their adolescence. Have a look at this. The Birmingham boys. 5 young males are moving in from the north to take over the Matimba's territory. If this happens, these cubs will be killed. This is how lions make sure that their bloodline dominates. It's a harsh reality, but it's nature, raw and real. Soon the threat of invasion heightens as 5 marauding males break cover for the first time. Crossing the territorial line, they move deeper into the heart of Matimba territory and steal a buffalo kill from the Nkahumas. This is a sure sign that the Birmingham boys are here to stay. Ready to fight. Nothing will stand in their way. Interesting times. We're really lucky to be here. We only get the chance to see this when males are really in their prime, between 5 and 9 years of age. I really am excited about this. We're going to cross back over to Pieter and get an update from him.
So many things happening. You won't believe it actually, those elephants managed to slip away from us. They went into really thick stuff. We tried to go around, and as much as they are massive animals, they just disappeared in there. So we've left them. We're now very close to Buffelshoek Dam, which is one of the watering holes that still has water. We're quite dry here at the moment. It's not been raining that much, and we're in early summer, so water holes are very, very attractive to all animals, and lots of activity around them quite often. So we're going to go down there and see what we can find. As Hayden was telling you, HT as we call him, very interesting lion sort of activity in the area as a, sort of in the bigger picture. And hopefully we can get you right into that picture this morning. The guys are very, very hot on the trail of a lioness. Otherwise, we're just coming up to the waterhole, and for me, it's always exciting when you approach a waterhole. Every single time, millions of times almost by this time that I've driven towards water, you're always a bit excited because there might be nothing there and just beautiful views, but there might be anything there as well. So it's coming up. Let's have a look. See big things yet, although it doesn't mean they're not here, but I do see one of the most beautiful birds that you get anywhere in the world. Just look down there. Well, two beautiful birds. The lighter one in the water, you might know from where you live, you find them all over the world. It's a grey heron, but look at that stunning bird in the back of it. It's got a yellow, what you call a sear, that sort of bridge on the beginning of the beak, red bill, that black band across it. We'll try and get closer to it just now. It's called a saddle-billed stork. And both those birds at the moment are hunting. They will catch little frogs, small fish, even insects. Let's just go around a little bit. We'll actually get closer to those birds as well. Well, that's always a great question. Morning, Isaac. Asking what's my favorite animal on safari. Hold a second. Sorry, just done a big dip there. Many different ones, but I must say in this area where we are, Sabi Sands is some of the best, if not the best, leopard viewing in the world. So seeing leopard out here is always phenomenal. Elephant, I do like elephant a lot because you get that true sense of intelligence and interaction from them. Here you can see on the left hand side, in fact they've been here recently. So look at this muddy sort of, it looks like a mix of cement almost. This would have been from elephant. Having a mud bath here earlier. Might well still find some coming down to drink as well. Beautiful bird life. Beverly, all the way from North Carolina. Just some lovely bird life. There's some swallows, some of the smaller birds as well. Just hold on a second, we're going up a bit of a steep bank here. There we go. Beverly, you were just asking which of the animals takes the longest to get accustomed to us, to our viewing, to our presence. It depends, I guess. You could say leopard. Leopard are probably, sorry, but I'm just looking at tracks here as well. There's some nice soft sand here, so it's a good place to see who's been around, what tracks have they left. Probably leopard. I mean, once leopard are habituated, like most or many of the leopard are in this area, they've grown up being used to vehicles being around, then they're actually very comfortable, very habituated. But, sorry, I'm just thinking about something there. Probably leopard, to get them to that point, because they can be very surreptitious, very sly in the beginning. Yay! We have the lions! Enjoy it!
Hello everybody, there she is, a beautiful lioness sitting on a termite mound in perfect sorry, I've just got a radio message there. We are going to head to a break just now, but she is going to probably sleep. That's what lions do best, but isn't that the most quintessential sight of Africa? We will see you, we'll stay with her, and we'll see you just now. Have a good break. Thank you, boy. Oh, sorry. Nervous. Perhaps she goes, she's just trying. There she's trotting up there. See that, Bryan? Sorry about that, Bryan. Sorry about that, Bryan. She's not very happy, this lioness. Moving through here. Look through here, Bryan. You got it? Just lying down. Okay, I'll hop through here. Sure you saw it here?
Yeah, I definitely saw it.
You think she went down into the drainage?
Yeah, I think she's gone through.
We don't know which lioness this is. No one seems to know. She's on her own. But interestingly, she does have those very orange eyes. We will not be able to get anything other than a large bulldozer through here. There she is. Bryan, can you get a picture of her from there? I can try and sneak a little bit forward to see if you can get a picture first. Can you get her? Yeah, but you just need a pace. I'll sneak you a little bit forward to where I was. And there we go. Back a bit.
Maybe try to go forward a bit more? A little bit more, tiny bit. Yeah.
Okay. So everyone on the internet, we're about to go back to the TV audience in 30 seconds. This is obviously not the best lion view in the world, but it is a lioness. And it's so interesting because she's on her own. We don't know why. We don't know who she is. Perhaps you might have an idea. Bryan, you know what? I'm going to pull you forward slightly. I've got a better view where I'm sitting. Hello everybody, welcome back. Just in case you've just joined us, first of all, you are most welcome. You're on a live safari. If you want to talk to us, hashtag Safari Live. What you're looking at there is a beautiful African lioness. She's been walking through this area. We've been following her for the last 10 minutes or so, trying to find her. And she was roaring earlier this morning. We don't know why she was roaring. It's not unusual for a lioness to roar if she's being territorial, but that's what we think has happened. I'm just going to sneak very slowly forward, and we'll try and get a good view. There we go. Bryan, that's I think the best we're going to get for now, hey? Lisa in Toronto, thank you for your question. You want to know if this lioness maybe has cubs, and that's why she's a little skittish and roaring. No, I'd say quite the opposite. If she was with cubs, she'd want to be drawing as little attention to herself as possible, and the way a lion doesn't draw attention to itself is by not roaring. And so I'd say that she's probably trying to find the rest of her pride. Why she's been separated, of course, has probably got something to do with the fact that the lions are in real turmoil. As Hayden has no doubt told you, and as you've seen, those Birmingham boys have created great upheaval out here, and I think that's why the lion prides have split up. They don't really know whether they're coming or going, and that's what's going on here. So not the best view at the moment. I am going to... Bryan, do you have any ideas? You try and sneak in there, maybe. She seems to have relaxed a bit, which is quite nice. She was a little bit tense when we first found her on that termite mound, and I think it's probably because she separated from the rest of her pride. Very special just to see a lion. We haven't seen a lion for a while, and that's because of the turmoil that's been going on around here. What I'm going to do is just slowly reverse back and see if we can't get a slightly better view in there. Of course, there are lots and lots of trees in here, which is not the trees' fault, of course. They have they have the same right to life as we do, of course. We're going to head across to Pieter. He's got the second member of the big five, or the top five predator hierarchy, the lion on top, and what Pieter's going to show you second. We'll see you just now.
Guys, welcome back this side. It's all happening now. Just listen to that. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm going to tell you what's happened here just now because it's very interesting. But we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hyena, 8 hyena that we could sort of see coming in. Spotted hyena. And they're busy feeding on a small carcass. We'll show you what it is just now. Big belly, it's quite full. She's walking right in front of us here. Guys, now keep in mind, spotted hyena, phenomenal predators in their own right. Very good hunters, but obviously we know them as scavengers. They scavenge often. Let's go a little bit closer. I'd love to show you what they're busy eating there. All that commotion that was happening just now, and that beautiful call. Love that sound. It's like lions roaring at night. It just tells you that there's big hairy animals out there. And spotted hyena actually often have a bad reputation. They're actually really cool animals. Very, very close family structures. They look after each other really well. It seems like competing over this food. Look at that. Full bellies, all of them. And I think they probably stole this food from, well, we're not sure what lions, but they did get some lion tracks in the area. Different lion from the lioness that James is sitting with. I believe she's looking a little bit nervous. She's maybe not having the full support of her pride at the moment. Put it this way, one lioness on her own, if she was, sort of bumped into by a group of hyenas like this, clan of hyenas, they could easily dominate her and chase her away or steal the food. It might even be what happened here. Although, as I said, this young buffalo was probably hunted by more than one lion. Look at that. Guys, it would be great if the lions popped back out. That has also happened. You never know. I mean, any second they could come out. You can see these hyenas as well. Look at the two here to the left that aren't eating. Very alert. Look at this one lying down. He might be lying down, but his ears and his eyes and his nose are fully alert. Hyenas, a lot of the value for them in the clan is that they can work together, whether it's hunting, similar to lions. Ellen, you were just asking now the different ways of hunting. Hyenas and lions are group hunters, generally speaking, although lions are also very successful on their own. But it's also to do with being able to protect your food afterwards. No point if you're a good hunter and your food gets stolen by hyenas in this case maybe. For a leopard, solitary hunters, they normally try and put the food up in a tree so as to avoid being sort of stolen by hyenas or lions. They take each other's food often. Look at that. This is the female with youngsters at the moment. You can see the mammary glands swollen there. Should be suckling the youngsters still. We are going to try maybe... Oh, here's one of the young ones. Awesome. Right next to us. Very cute when they're this young. They look like little teddy bears almost. Fluffy coat. The spots where they get the name from. Now that's often a thing. Susie's just asking us. Hello Susie from Las Vegas. What does it smell like? Well, this is a fresh kill. This happened probably in the early hours of the morning. Look at how quickly they go in. She's taken some food. She's the alpha female, so she could have a pick to an extent. Immediately they in to grab something as well. Now there might be a close-knit family unit. Here's another young one. Guys, this is amazing. We've got so many hyenas around us here. Susie, but quickly for your question, no smell yet. This is a fresh carcass. That meat has only been meat, not a buffalo anymore, for a couple of hours. But on big carcasses, in summertime, the smell can be, let's say, challenging if you're downwind. If you keep your eyes on the wind or your feeling on the wind, you normally try and sit upwind from a carcass if you can. This is beautiful. These hyenas actually have a den not very far from here. So it's not unlikely that maybe for tomorrow's drive, because we don't have that much time left for today's experience, for tomorrow's live safari, we can try and show you the den. Just listen to them as well. Very, very strong. Look at how they picked it up. Jessica, you were just asking, how strong are spotted hyenas? Well, few aspects to that question. One is they're very strong in their front quarters, like she's doing now. She can just drag that piece of carcass easily. Even big carcasses can be dragged. But then, you see the young one, got a little piece, go away where you can eat it without the others stealing it from you guys. This is awesome. But Jessica, they have incredibly strong jaws. They have the strongest jaws of all the big animals. The pressure they can exert is big enough to crush and break the femur, the thick bone of a giraffe's leg, to get to the marrow inside. They can break through most heavy bones. Look how strong she is. Annie, hello from Portland. How much can hyenas eat? Well, look at her belly. That's a good indication. You're strong, huh? Very strong. And very obliging as well. She just dragged this right next to us here into the open. But you were just asking, how much can they eat? More than lions? Well, maybe not more than lions, just because lions are proportionately bigger than hyenas, so they have a bigger stomach because they are larger. But to eat the lion's share, put it this way, hyenas would be happy to give it their best shot as well. They can eat, I'm guessing, probably about 15-20 kilograms of meat in one go. They will gorge themselves when the opportunity is there. But just look at how beautiful that is. The youngsters, as much as they are eating, also investigating and playing a little bit with this carcass. Wonder where the lions are that had this. Although I don't blame them for getting out of here. The whole pack of hyena must have been here quite soon after the hunt, just because we're not very far from the den. I'm just going to move slightly, as you must keep in mind we are in the bush. This is all live. There's a bunch of things between us and you to get you to us in Africa. I think what we should do while we move, there's some more interesting information on those lions that H2 was telling you about. Let's have a look at that. We're going to get a better view of these hyenas. See you just now.
How incredible is that? Now, lion society is not easy at the best of times. And you know what? Sometimes things happen. If a male takeover occurs, what will actually happen is that they will kill the cubs. Now, if they kill the cubs, it's a tragedy, but it's their way of actually making their genes more dominant. It's called infanticide. It's not easy for us to watch. It's very, very difficult for the lions, and sometimes the females will band together and fight that fiercely, often ending in death. It's a really tricky situation that's going on right now. Have a look at this. This territorial takeover has been tragic for the prides that live here. One of the Birmingham boys has killed a Styx pride cub. It's nature at its most primal. And in a grim display, another male has killed a second cub and carries the carcass in his mouth for the day. These deaths mean mating rights to the Birmingham boys, so that the new dominant male bloodlines can begin. After many years, the Matimba males have been evicted and will now roam the bush alone. Takeovers are hungry work, and the Birmingham boys are enjoying their new rich pickings. Life is good for these young males, but who knows what the future will hold for the Nkuhumas and the Styx pride. So there you have it. That's the story up to speed to now, and it's a pretty tricky situation. The Matimba males pushed out, the Birmingham boys coming in. Who knows what's going to happen for the Nkuhumas and the Styx pride? And we've got word on the street. The Bush Telegraph says that there's a coalition of 9 males potentially coming from the north. Goodness me, if that happens, it's going to be intense. I'm going to cross back to James. I'll see you later.
Hello everyone. So you've just seen the turmoil that the Birmingham boys have created. Now, I've been watching this lioness for the last 10 minutes, and we think that this is Amber Eyes. Now, Amber Eyes has not been introduced to you, but the Nkuhuma pride has. And the Nkuhuma pride has one very distinctive lioness in the pride, and that is this lioness that has very orange amber eyes. And I think that this is the lioness. She and I have a very special relationship. She came up to the vehicle once and stared my soul down through my eyes, and I think that's who this is. So it would explain why she's calling like she is at the moment. Why she's a bit nervous of things. And then a nice question from Eric. Thank you, Eric. Well done. Live safari, of course. You want to know what happens when lions get separated. Well, normally it happens when things like the Birmingham boys or coalition takeovers take place. Lions come in, pride split up. The Birmingham boys, of course, have killed a number of lionesses from the Nkuhuma pride, and that would be one of the reasons that they might split up. I couldn't tell you where the rest of the pride is. They were last seen heading into the Kruger National Park. Remember that none of the boundaries here are boundaries that the animals have to adhere to. They're boundaries that we as humans have to adhere to. Anyway, so this lioness is very quietly lying here in the bush. She'll probably rest here for much of the rest of the day. Lions do need to sleep for up to 20 hours of the day. So she would have called early morning, sent the roar out just as a contact call to the rest of her pride, and that's it. Right, we've got very little time left. We're going to head across to Pieter and those wonderful hyenas. Enjoy them. I hope you've had a good time. See you next time.
Well guys, time's up. Brilliant safari this morning. You can continue on wildsafariLive.com. Fantastic. We will see you later. Well guys, that was the first part of the drive. Beautiful morning, fantastic hyena. We're sitting here, we just counted, what was our count there, VM? 11? I think we had 11 in total so far. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 off to the left. This group here, a couple more to the back of us there as well. There's another 1 or 2 in the bush, 3. Fantastic hyena, lioness around, lots of activity around. And also, we were just live in the sort of prime time slots across the US on safari. So that was brilliant. Thank you for joining us as always, and thank you for still staying with us here. All over the world where you might be from. So this is one of the best hyena sightings I've had in a long time. Just so much activity and interaction between the clan itself, between the group. And they're just finishing off what remains of that buffalo. Not too much food, but certainly for hyenas there's still a good sized breakfast in that. And by the look of their bellies, they probably got hold of this carcass well before it was just the remains that we're seeing now. I think they got this somewhere in the early hours of the morning. Hey, what's going on there? I think they're spooking themselves sometimes. Obviously they are a bit nervous. Around a carcass like this, you never know what else might pop out here. Maybe some other hyena. Lion, obviously, that I think was the original kill, or that made the original kill. Strange animals, hyenas. It sort of ties a little bit onto what you were asking just now, Il. Asking about hyenas and how tame they can become. They can get very used to people. These ones, for instance, we go to their den quite often, so they're obviously very used to the vehicle. There's parts of Africa where people actually build up a very healthy relationship with hyena, even around villages and things, where they, to some extent, help to remove some of the less desirable rubbish, if you want. Amazing animals, but not really something you want to make a pet out of. Any wild animal, really. Just to add on to your question, Il. But they can get very used to our presence and us to them. As I said right when we arrived here, hyenas have got such a bad reputation. Not a bad reputation, but a bad perception, maybe, is a better word. They are truly amazing animals. They're very closely knit family structures. They cooperate to raise the young, to find food, to keep other predators and threats away from the group. They really are quite grand. Bless you. Thank you. It's quite a place to be this morning. Yeah, let's have another close look. They're in the shadows now and the sun is getting higher quickly, so a little bit tricky to see, Megan, but you're asking what they're eating there. You can probably see it. It's a young buffalo, about a year old. Actually, sorry, about 2 years old. And what's left of it is pretty much the sort of the skin and the head, obviously, which we can see there. A little bit of the rib cage. With a big buffalo, you know, buffalo is sort of 5, 6 or 10 years old. Often the rib cage is left, but younger buffalo like this, they will probably eat almost all of the bones, except maybe obviously the skull and the spinal column. Normally it's too hard, although they will eat some of it, some of the column, I mean, some of the backbones. quite beautiful animals. Look at that. Little grin on the face, big round ears. Obviously, like with many animals, well, almost all the bigger mammals at least, hearing is a very important part of their sort of day-to-day activity. Hyenas need to be able to hear each other. Communication in general, when they're finding food, when they're calling each other far away. So great hearing, obviously the best nose in the business. Hyenas have got incredible sense of smell. Morning, Eric. Eric is just wondering what animal would I be most scared of out here? You know, I always, and it's not a facetious answer, Eric, but I always tend to think of humans. That would be the one that, you know, if something really strange and scary was going to happen out here, it would have to be some kind of human-related sort of activity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just trying to count these hyenas. I counted 11 just now. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Might even be 12. I thought I saw another one in the back. Eric, but pretty much all animals, if you do the things right, and I mean, obviously this comes with a bit of experience and time spent with these animals. Even the big ones, lion, elephant, which are probably the two most dangerous, buffalo in the wrong conditions. But most animals don't want to attack you. So I'm just listening. We've got plovers calling there. Plovers are little birds or medium-sized birds. Lapwings is also another name for them. But they're normally very good alarm systems. It sounds like something's heading this way. The hyenas also noticed it. They were suddenly on more alert, even higher alert than they were a few minutes back. So who knows? Maybe there's a lioness or two on their way back, or a lion on its way back. We're all still here. So as long as you focus and do the right thing in the moment, most close calls are still good. But yeah, we've had with WildEarth, we've had elephant a while back, put some tusks into the side, but again, it's more just an indication of a mood, I think. Lions and leopard very close to the vehicle, but keep in mind these guys really are, they accept us as part of the environment. We're not a threat to them, so there's no reason for them to do anything to us in terms of fighting with us or chasing with us. Guys, they're starting to spread out here. I mean, in the bigger picture where we're sitting here, there's a bit of a open clearing, like where there's hyenas walking through, but around us you have these patches of what we call guarri bushes. We'll show you just now. There's a lot of shade for them to relax in. They will finish off this food now over the next couple of hours. Probably even head back to the den before the morning gets too hot. This one having a walk over to another member of the family there. Notice how they walk as well, left and right legs together. They don't have the normal walking pattern of, for instance, a lion. And that's because the back legs are a little bit shorter. So for them to walk with the opposing legs would mean they'd have to cross the legs too far. So they walk the same way, coincidentally, as giraffe. I'll show you when we see one. Right up close to us here. Just to give you an idea again, some hyena there, some hyena further back, a bunch under the tree here, so they've all sort of spread out around us here. Wait, what's going on there? A little bit of, that's very interesting actually. Sort of ties into your question, Terry. That was actually one of the young ones chasing away one of the bigger ones, and that's to do with hierarchy in the group. Terry was asking just now, do the males get first preference to food, the same as the females, the same as the males with lions? In other words, who gets first pickings? It's very interesting with the hyena. The males, even the biggest, most dominant of the males, fall in the hierarchy of the clan below the lowest ranking female. In other words, all the females outrank all the males. Obviously you have the alpha female, which is normally the dominant or breeding female. She would have first pickings to an extent, but hyenas really sort of have a go at it as well altogether. So there's a lot of snarling and laughing, and I don't mean laughing like ha-ha for a good joke. I mean that sort of, there's a good word for it which has totally slipped my mind now. Hyenas make this, you know, sort of frantic laughing noise, which you would have heard before if you've seen them around the carcass. So the males fall lower down in the hierarchy. Look at those toes, beautiful views right next to us. A lot of hair around the toe gives it a nice sense of feel when it's walking. Same for your cats, enabling them to feel where they put their feet down. Be quiet. Big ears I've mentioned. My, what a big nose you've got. So much to smell so much better with. Hyenas could certainly say that. Pretty good on the teeth front as well. And excellent when it comes to sleeping, like all predators. All predators know how to find food, obviously, how to eat it, obviously, if possible, how to defend it from other predators. But another thing they all have in common is they're all great sleepers. When the belly is full, when you know you've got food, get your head down, have a good nap, digest it. Happy days in Africa. But not for long. Look around, listen around, because you don't want to be, how shall I put it, on the menu. Wow, look at this. I don't know if we can't actually show you. The one hyena's gone right behind us. There it is, there it is. Hello. Coming to have a look at us. Amazing. What's he doing? Sniffing us. That's how close he is. That's where VM sits. Around the camera. I can't even see him. He's that close. I think he's sniffing the vehicle now. Can you see him again, VM? There we go. I love that as well. When animals are curious, they come and have a look at you. We look at them all the time. So why not them at us? If we can find a hyena interesting or an elephant interesting, when they don't have to look around too much for lions or other threats, be curious. They come and have a look. This one looks like it might even just want to be in the shade from the vehicle, so amazing. When he's literally not even a foot away from the vehicle, he's almost touching it. I say he, it's very difficult with hyena. This could be a she as well. Male and female are almost indistinguishable unless they're really big mature ones. Then you can see the dominant females normally are very large, and you can also see it in the behavior. But a hyena like that, male or female, almost impossible to tell the difference. Okay, there's a bit further. These ones are settling down as well beautifully under the tree. A little bit of food left. I actually had a smell of it now. Earlier the question was there, what does it smell like? And you can smell it fresh. I would say this was killed in the early hours of the morning, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock somewhere. The hyenas would have heard it. They're only half a mile away from you in their den. Rushed over the lionesses or lions, whoever killed it, we don't know yet from the tracks. Would have had a bit of time to eat. Maybe fought over the carcass a bit, and then the hyenas would have come in and taken over. The wens, which is why they have full bellies, and the lions, we don't know where they are. And we've got a game drive vehicle approaching, which is why the hyenas suddenly a bit more alert. This is also a young one still. This would have been from the previous litter, probably about 1.5 years, 2 years old. One of the game drives joining us here from, I'm not sure, who is it? Oh, it's Aubrey. The wind's just turned. You can smell the carcass. Another question coming in from Chevelle, beautiful name. Aubrey, hello. Hello. Hey guys, how's it going? Guest joining us here from Galego camp, one of the camps of Juma. Chevelle, you were just asking, what are the predators of a hyena? little bit of interaction here between the two. I think a slight dominant behavior there as well. Well, it's not really predators in the sense of, you know, a lion goes out to hunt a hyena because it's hungry. In other words, it's not the same relationship as lions would have with other prey species like zebra or so on. But a danger to them would certainly be lions. Lions kill hyenas, make no mistake. Hyenas also kill lions sometimes. And when they're very small, the baby hyenas would be in danger from leopard potentially, other hyena perhaps. I mean, predators will kill other predators, youngsters as well, because that's potential competition down the line. But there's nothing that walks around looking for a hyena to eat. In other words, it's not that they're a prey species at all. So it's more the competitive battles that ends up in mortality sometimes. And they will just keep biting away, tearing away at this until it's all finished. As we said earlier, they will fill their bellies down to the last little corner, make the most of food available. Well, people don't always think a hyena are the prettiest of animals, although that's debatable. In the right light, anything looks good, and especially baby hyenas can be beautiful. But one thing we all agree that is beautiful is a flower. It's a...
Well, what a morning it's been, and happy to hear that Pieter's found that incredibly interesting sighting with the hyena and the buffalo carcass, but we thought it would be a good opportunity for us to tone things down a little bit and show you this beautiful wild hibiscus flowers. It's probably my favorite flower of the Lowveld at this time of the year, and we're so lucky to be here in spring as we get to see not only the beautiful and interesting animals, but also this huge surge in growth with the vegetation. Now, we're working in this area. There's been a squirrel alarm calling, or several of them, and we're trying to work out what it is exactly that is disturbing this squirrel. And hopefully it's a leopard or a big predator, or maybe it's something smaller like a snake, equally as interesting, and hopefully it won't take long for us to track it down. We are going to continue on our search and send you back to Pieter with the hyena. See you later.
Quite a contrast to our viewing this morning. From dead buffalo to flower. I love stopping for flowers, so always like showing them. I remember a funny story with HD from one of the last drives regarding flowers. Just notice how always they stay alert. Very important in the bush. And it's not from fear or worrying, you know. People always think that animals walk around in the bush, you know, impalas and zebra, terrified of being caught by lions at any second. You know, hyenas are worried about lions killing them. It's not like that at all. This is it's like a city, I guess, or like like us humans. All the animals out here, they get along in the end. Yes, some lions might eat that buffalo. There might be some misunderstandings and fights and things like that sometimes, but ultimately all these species do coexist. So it's not that this hyena is looking around in fear, it's just looking around out of habit, a good habit, and awareness and alertness. It is eating. It means that lion, other hyena, other predators could arrive at any second, therefore you look around. Exactly as she's doing at the moment. Checking where the other hyenas are, just keeping yourself alert as to your surroundings. And when you live out in the bush, spend lots of time out here, it becomes a habit very quickly to be aware of your surroundings and what's going on all the time. She's giving us a perfect lesson in that this morning. Look at the ears checking, the eyes checking, the nose checking. Vigilant and aware all the time. This is the same one that came and sniffed the vehicle earlier. The others are there in the shade, more in the shade in the back. This one moving around. We're going to stay here with them, just see what they get up to for the rest of the morning. Who knows what else might pop out here. And yes, Lisa, you were asking about the injury on the back of one of the adults. I did notice it as well earlier. It's one of the ones lying down further to the back. Not sure what it was from. Maybe from the lions last night, maybe from something else. Bit of wind picking up. You can hear it, you can see it in the leaves and the twigs there. Nice thick leaf cover over these hyenas. This is called a guarri bush that they're under. But as the morning starts to warm up now, there'll be a bit of wind. Main sort of competitive time within this clan, so within the group competing to get your share of the food, I think that's past. They've all had a good belly full, so there'll be more sort of relaxed rotation now between individuals. We should maybe try and move a little bit. I'd love to show you that group at the back under the shade. Have a look at what they're doing. Not much, but it's always interesting when they're sleeping together as a group. James is still out there as well. Not sure where we're at with the lioness. He's going to tell you.
Welcome back to Wendy. She had to take a brief break after her exceptional job of getting into that lion sighting just now. I hope you enjoyed our little TV broadcast to the whole of the United States. Very intimidating it was, but hugely exciting. I'm just going to tell you what we're doing here, and then I'm going to show you something. First of all, we heard that the Styx Pride was around here somewhere earlier on. Now, we haven't come across them again, and I'm still a little confused as to who that lioness was that we saw. I think possibly it was Amber Eyes, like I said, and because she's the only lioness, and as Bryan also said, confirmed to me, she's the only lioness that either of us know that has that kind of very distinctive orange-coloured eye. Anyway, time will tell. And we're now driving up here, hoping to see the Styx Pride. They were apparently spotted here quite early this morning, but they have since melted into the bush. And as you all know, with building heat, so the lions will probably go to sleep. Now on the dashboard there is something that might be described as amber. It is a little bit of tree gum that comes from a combretum tree or bush willow, and you can see it glinting beautifully there in the morning light. And I just want to try and eat some and see what it tastes like. This, of course, is the premise behind that Jurassic Park film. You remember that the mosquito, if you've seen the film, I'm sure you have. If you haven't, get out there, and I don't suppose you can get it at a video store anymore. I don't think they have those anymore. Get it from Netflix. And the premise was a mosquito had been caught in some amber, basically some tree gum like this, and what the inimitable late Sir Richard Attenborough did was to drill into the amber, extract the dinosaur DNA from the mosquito, which had been supping on Brontosaurus or something similar, and so created a whole new generation of dinosaurs. That, of course, is utter fable, but let's just have a taste of this stuff. This is what many animals eat. It's supposed to be very rich in energy. I don't want to be selfish, so I'm going to offer Bryan some. There you are, Bryan, and we'll try it. taste like nuts, does it? Totally without taste. No, it's totally without taste. It definitely looks a lot tastier than it is. It looks like honey and tastes like air. It's a bit like my cooking. Right, that's enough of that. No further lion tracks at this stage, and so we'll head back to the hyena. Bryan and I will probably be sick. We'll head back to the hyena and I'll see you a bit later.
If we were into sound effects, that would be the fitting one. We've got some very lazy hyenas next to us. You can see that. Just look at that face. I'm sure the mother at least loves it. It's still a bit dirty from all the blood, but that is what a happy, contented hyena looks like. Full belly, not far from a waterhole. They can go and drink within a few minutes walk from here. They're a few minutes away from their den. This is a good day for the hyenas. And now all they have to really do is just sleep it off. Not coincidence, the way they're lying down. You can see one facing one way, one the other way. And even the way they spread out around where this carcass is, they've sort of made like a sort of a wider perimeter, if you want, like a circle almost around where they are. So if something does approach, there's multiple eyes and ears in multiple directions, staying alert, staying aware. And varying between alert and asleep. Heads down, and I'm sure quite soon again, heads up. Sure, you can hear all the sounds as well. Those cicadas, that sort of chirping, scratching sound almost. Insects, they get louder as the day gets hotter. Turtle dove in the distance. It looks like a bit of a bada bing bada boom. It looks like a bit of a bite mark on the leg there. You did ask earlier about the injury on the back of that one hyena. That looked like a bite mark on the leg. Maybe again in the takeover from the lions there would have been a bit of fighting going on. Just to give you a perspective, we've got them sleeping to our right here. There to the left is where the carcass is. We've just moved around to the other side. Probably at least one of them will keep eating. What have you got there, Vivian? Oh, there's another one. Oh, spotted. Oh, she's calling. So that's the sort of layout. Oh, she's leaving the carcass as well. I wonder if they'd actually leave it. I would have expected that they'd eat more of this, but it might be that they decide to go back to the den because of the youngsters with them. It's the alpha female, the one closest to the carcass now on the right hand side. Maybe just a little look around. I'm sure this one is going back again to the back out the way. If you're going back again for another nap in the shade, the things you have to do. Pretty sure they're going to be around here for at least another hour or two in the morning. Other animals that stay active during this time of the day are the biggest animals out there. Enjoy the elllies. We'll see you back in a bit.
Hello everyone, this is the same herd of elephants that we started off this morning with at 6 a.m. They're in a similar area and they're still feeding gently through the woodland, and I can't believe that it'll be too long before they head off to have something to drink. The heat is building at a remarkable speed. I suspect it'll probably be roughly the same temperature as that at the heart of an atomic bomb today at 12 o'clock, and like the elephants, I hope to be firmly in the shade by that time of the day. That said, there is a very nice breeze blowing, and maybe that's why the elephants are still feeding and not heading off to water. The nearest water they have from here is probably at the Djuma Dam. Otherwise, they could go to the Simbambili Dam, which isn't too far from here, and then there is a cesspit. A lovely breeding herd, very peacefully and passively feeding through the woodland, and this is a young bull on the fringes of the herd. I can't think it's too long before he gets tossed out and has to go off on his own eventually. He's eating some Ziziphus mucronata, or buffalo thorn. And buffalo thorn, of course, has got thorns on it. Well, of course it does. It's called a buffalo thorn. And they are not pleasant things to be trifled with. But as with so many of the animals here, and I don't fully understand how or why, they don't seem to be affected by the thorns. Really is a wonderful picture of great peace here as the heat starts to build. And you can see he's watching us very carefully, I suspect half in slight amusement, and I don't mean he's having a laugh, I mean that he's curious, he's interested in what we're doing, and half in sort of just trying to check out, are we in danger, are we not. So there's a bit of fear and quite a lot of curiosity involved in his look, and that's because these young elephant bulls are always quite curious, and they're a bit like people at the same age. They really do like to check out what's going on around them, feel themselves, test the boundaries, see what's afraid of them, see what isn't. When we first arrived, he shook his head at us, and when we didn't move off, he looked very embarrassed indeed. In South Bend, Indiana. You want to know what is it that the favorite food is of elephants, which trees they like to eat. Now Lucy, that's actually a fascinating and very good question. The answer is there isn't one, I don't think. There are certainly things that they will eat seasonally. There are also things that they will eat when they are feeling bad. Apparently that they select different kinds of food depending on how they're feeling, how their physiologies are feeling. So if they've got a sore tummy, they might eat a specific kind of plant, and there's certainly evidence. So for example, we saw an elephant once that had just lost its tusk, and they were pushing red bush willow leaves into the wound. So that was fascinating, and I think, it just depends on how they're feeling. That said, Lucy, when the marula fruits come, and that will be between December and February, when those marula trees start to fruit, the elephants love them. And it's just another example of their similarity to human beings. They will devour the fruit, and of course the fruit has evolved with the elephants. And the really interesting thing is that it cannot germinate. So the seeds of the marula tree cannot germinate unless they have passed through the digestive system of one of these great African elephants here. So marula fruit, Lucy, I say would be the short answer. The long answer is that, it does really vary depending on the time of year. Certainly in summer, if there's enough grass, that's what they'll be eating. They won't be eating many trees. They enjoy eating the long grass. It's much easier for them to eat, fewer thorns and less in the way of wood. Much less work for their teeth to do. I think this female that we're looking at now is the matriarch. She seems to be the biggest cow around here. She's sort of out front. There are a couple of bulls. Oh, here comes another herd, Bryan. I think those are those 3 bulls we started with this morning. Sorry about the road, everyone, but unfortunately people do have to get in and out of here, as does the power. I think those 2 young bulls are probably part of the same herd, and they're just hanging out on the fringes. They've probably been told to stay away by the matriarch, and so they do like to stay within visual contact, and they'll do their best not to incur the wrath of the matriarch. And of course the best way to experience the bush is on foot if you want a true wilderness experience. So let's head across to Scott. He's on foot and see what he has to show us. I think something quite similar. See you just now.
Welcome back, everyone. And we've got a beautiful breeding herd of elephants up ahead of us. There's a few youngsters and a monkey who's going to take in for a closer look now. The wind is in our favor, but we are going to have to be careful. The elephants are moving around, and there's quite a lot of them. Actually, what I'm going to suggest we do, because they are coming towards us, is just slowly back up. The wind is in our favor. You can see it's blowing mainly towards us, but the elephants are moving in our direction. And what we're going to do is we're going to climb up onto a large termite mound, which is just behind us, and that should leave us in a safe place. Keep going back, Chandra. Maybe you follow me. Just get Chandra to follow me. We do need to be careful, because elephant mothers will be very protective of their calves, and that's why if we get up onto this big termite mound, we should be in a great spot to enjoy the sighting. It's going to be awesome. Look like they're feeding gently towards us. And I'm hoping as we climb up here, the signal may get better, because I'm told it's a little bit jumpy at the moment. Chandra, you all good there? Oh, this is going to be so cool, guys. So cool. So, take a closer look now that we've got a good vantage point. I'm not sure how many of you guys can see, but I'm counting about 20 elephants in a large herd. And calm and relaxed as they are now, okay, to us, they've got absolutely no idea of our presence. Their eyesight isn't the best, and we're moving through a lot of shady areas which will help conceal us. Something very good to remember when approaching dangerous game. Use the shadows to your advantage, and also the wind. Now, the wind is in our favor, but we're on a bit of a drainage line or river there. And what tends to happen in these areas is that the wind can swirl. All is good for now. Of doing it rather than taking any chances whatsoever and stressing this herd, we're going to extract from the site for something else to show you and send you back to James, who's a far safer position on the vehicle. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, from one elephant on foot to another elephant. Look at this little guy. No, not you. Yes, you're very beautiful, but it wasn't you that I was pointing out. There was a little chap there. There he is. He's just relieving himself quietly on the road. leaving evidence of himself having a small poo, and then heading off into the wilderness. He looked a bit embarrassed about that, and well, he should. He needs to find a secluded bush to do that sort of thing. I suppose his mother probably hasn't left him or given him much of it in the way of a good example. So I think that's the matriarch crossing now. She's the biggest cow that we can see. And you can see their backs are so much more square than the bulls. There's a young bull there. That's probably a young cow, I think. But there's a young bull behind there. That's him there. And you can see his back is just a lot more arched. Cow in front of us now. He's just looking. Sorry, that's the aerial, which I'm afraid I can't move. She's a bit close. And she looks to me to be pregnant. There's quite a lot of swelling next to her spine. I think you'll probably find that she's pregnant. She's going to be a bit quiet for a while. I want you to listen to the cicadas calling. Quintessential summer sound, and just one that fills me with a great sense of peace. Hear the cicadas, and you can probably hear the wind, gentle breeze blowing in from the north, which is very pleasant. There's another game drive coming, and that's why some of the elephants have reacted a little bit. They often just react initially when the car comes along, and then they get on with life and relax. Just to keep you updated, the Nkahuma pride, the rest thereof, has been found on Buffelshoek. So that's just north of Wuyatela or Djuma. They're not really sure who it is, and that indicates to me that they think it's the Nkahumas, but it indicates to me that they're definitely not all there. I will try and find out later in the day exactly who's there and what the makeup of that pride is that they found. But it does bode quite well for later on, certainly maybe not today, but tomorrow. Hopefully that pride will join up with the amber-eyed female again, and they will be reunited, with any luck, right on Djuma, possibly with Hayden in the savannah tent. What do you think, Bryan? Is it nice? Quite fun. So it would certainly explain that sort of slightly odd nervous behavior from the lioness this morning, and her calling before we managed to get there. Anyway, while the lions are in upheaval, these elephants are completely at peace. And people often ask me, or used to ask, what's it, if you could choose one animal to be, what would it be? And I've often thought an elephant would be a good thing to be, because you live for a long time, and also there's not a huge amount that can eat you. But to be an impala or a kudu or nyala or something like that must be a pretty terrifying existence, living out here in the wilderness. Thank you very much to all of you who have sent through kind messages of congratulations to Bryan and I on our broadcast to National Geographic. Of course, none of it is possible without our internet audience, and you probably don't realize it, but you teach us an enormous amount, not only about the animals here, but about how to be on camera and how to do the job that we do. Because without the constant practice, trying new things with you and getting the feedback from you, we really wouldn't have a clue what we were doing. So a big shout out and a thank you to all of our regular viewers for all of your help and your constant interaction. It really does mean a huge amount to us, and we appreciate it a lot. And we're very sorry once again for any disruption to the show that you are used to and the show that you enjoy. normal service will be resumed come Wednesday morning. No, in fact, tomorrow afternoon, everything will be back to completely normal. Also very nice, of course, the TV broadcast has given us the chance to refine a few things, like that wonderful drone, which has given us some incredible shots. Also that we've honed, I feel, the walking aspect of things, and you've seen some amazing shots with Brent and Scott over the last few days, where they've really taken that part of the show, I think, to a different level, and I think it's marvellous. And that, of course, comes about because of the feedback from you and from the National Geographic broadcasts. There's a very clever question from Ashley on Twitter. Please remember to tell us where you're from, Ashley. You could be in the North Pole, you could be in Tierra del Fuego. It would be lovely to know where you're watching us from. And Ashley, you want to know, can elephants tell if plants are poisonous? Ashley, I think they can. I think most animals in their natural habitat can tell what to eat and what not to eat. And what's really important about that, of course, is that an elephant lives in a matriarchal herd, where the older ones, they live beyond breeding age, and the older ones are there to basically explain. I don't know what the mechanism of explanation is, but to explain to the younger ones what to eat and what not to eat. So I'm pretty sure that they know precisely what's poisonous and what is not. Okay, as this herd melts into the bushes, we're going to head back across to Pieter and his hyena. I think that they are still in the same place. I suspect, much like most of the predators out here, they will go to sleep fairly soon as the heat starts to beat down upon us. Enjoy that, and I will see what else we can find before we say goodbye. See you later.
This might suddenly look like a herbivore because it's eating wood. Hyenas like to play around, and sometimes I think they chew things like that just to clean their teeth or something. These hyenas are pretty much settling down. The big alpha female just left the carcass a few minutes back, so this one just came to have a look. But they're also full. I think partly they don't have space for more food, but also, apart from not having space for more food, it's nap time now. When you've got a full belly of food like that there in the background, you can see the alpha female and one of the other adults. They are just taking their nap now. The rest of the group I don't even see, to be honest. There's only the 3 big ones remaining. I presume the youngsters might have headed back to the den. As I mentioned, the den is quite close to here, so it is safer and better for them to be close to the den. Perhaps that's where she's heading to as well. It's the right direction. So we're going to probably go look around just now. It is beautiful for elephants, as you've been seeing. James had elllies, Brent and the guys on the walks had elllies, so lots of elllies around. And just trying to think. There's another one, also in the shade. A bit of vocalization, it's always nice to hear. And as always, just always chipping away at the hierarchy of the group. Okay, this is what she's doing. She doesn't want other hyena to go to the carcass. Look what she's doing there. She's chasing that one away just because he went to have a look at the carcass. I'm quite curious. I have a feeling there might actually be 2 litters of young ones going on here, because the alpha female is the one lying down in the shade, but this female walking around is also lactating by the look of her mammary glands. So I didn't know this den that well, but there might be some small ones at the den, like really small ones, and then the bigger ones that are moving around with them. Oh, awesome. Thank you very much. The benefit of having such a great team here is getting some information. As I said, I haven't been seeing these hyenas much, but there's 3 different sets of pups. Born in December 2, one in November, and around May somewhere, end of May. So May, June, July, August, September, 4 or 5 months old, the smallest ones. So, in short, a very successful clan. They're doing well, enough food that they can have various females breeding. If the conditions were very harsh, only the alpha female would breed. But if conditions are good, grow the clan. I think we should go look around a little bit. We've got about half an hour, 40 minutes left of the morning safari, sunrise safari, and who knows what we could still find in that time. We will come back here later on. That buffalo doesn't look like it's going anywhere. As we said, a young buffalo. And there's still enough food there for the hyenas to sort of stick around a little bit. But most of the feeding is finished now. That is actually something we see around this area quite often, is old buffalo carcasses. And I don't mean old like 10-year-old buffalo, and this is a 2-year-old buffalo. I mean old carcasses from months and years ago, and always fascinating things to look at and to maybe understand a little bit more how a buffalo is this sort of put together. So enjoy it on the walk. We will see you back here somewhere before the end of drive.
Well, we thought we would take you and show you some closer scenes of what a buffalo carcass looks like after it's been left for a while. This has actually been here for over a year, but there's still some really interesting stuff to see. It was killed by a pride of lion before I started working here at Djuma. But like Pieter says, it's kind of like a crime scene. You get to investigate a little bit about what's happened and also a bit about of the anatomy of a buffalo. And there's quite a few different bones here. These are rib bones, this one at least, which kind of makes sense. You can see how it's curved, just like our rib bones would be. And it's been bleached white by the sun. And as we keep looking through this area, we'll see that there's a lot of other different bones, different parts of the carcass. Here's some of the actual vertebra. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 2 different pieces of vertebra, and this way you'll be able to see how they actually interconnect. Look at this. It's not perfect. These 2 might not have been the perfect links, but you can see this rounded section and how it fits into this ball here. And then also, what I'll try and do, it's filled up with sand, but you can see through that hole, and that's where the spinal cord will run, straight through that little hole, as it would on this one when I link both of them together and put them in place. And isn't that cool? So that's where the spinal cord runs, and as soon as that gets severed, the animal will be paralyzed. Now, I don't think that necessarily happened in this case. Lions will often have to suffocate buffalo in order to kill them. It would be interesting to know how the hyena managed to get to that buffalo carcass. I'm not sure what Pieter thinks, but how lion will kill buffalo is they will try and strangle them by choking their airflow on their throats, as well as actually closing over the whole muzzle of the buffalo to prevent it from breathing through its nostrils. It can often take quite some time depending on how successful the lions are. But buffalo are incredibly big animals, and even once they have been brought down and lion can be covered all over their body, on their neck, on their muzzle, if other buffalo return to try and rescue their friend, which they often do, that buffalo could still escape to tell another story. Now, I'm guessing that this was a buffalo bull, judging by its head shape and size. What you'll notice, though, is that animals like hyena with incredibly powerful jaws have chewed through and broken off all this section here, which would have been the nose. You can see the eye cavity over here. What's also interesting is that you get to see how a horn works. And all you see with buffalo and other antelope is this outer layer of keratin, the brown part that you can see, but all horns will have a bony inner. Unlike an antler, which is one set type of growth, the horns of antelope and other animals which grow throughout the life of the animal, unlike an antler which is shed seasonally on deer. So you get to see a little bit of that, and you also get to see a few tiny holes. What I'm going to try and do is rest it down here. And you can see that this keratin sheath has actually been fed on by something called horned borer moth, and there's not many animals that can feed on it. You can see the tiny little holes, as well as the larval casings where the little insects would have left their dung and droppings after feeding on these horns. And it just goes to show how not much goes to waste out here in Africa. There's animals designed to make sure that everything is utilized, even the keratin sheath of the horn, which would have actually been huge. It would have bulged up quite extensively, especially on the center of the skull. And female buffalo will lack this very bony center, and they'll actually have hair growing out of their middle parting. So that's how you can distinguish between male and female buffalo. Not easy in this case, though. Interesting stuff nonetheless. We are going to continue and see what else we can find you. So let's go and see what's around the next corner. Hold on. This is quite interesting. I was talking about the growth of spring, and this tree, which doesn't look too impressive at this stage, is one of the most iconic and special trees of the low veldt. It's a baby marula tree. And what I'm going to do is take you across to see what a big one looks like. There's be one very close by. Oh, there we go. Let's go and have a closer look at a big one that's straight up ahead of us. And the reason why they are such iconic trees of this area is that they are not only beautiful to look at, both in winter when they don't have any leaves and in summer when they have a fresh green shoot like we can see now, but leopards love sleeping in them. They've often got very horizontal branches that are thick and comfortable to lie on. And 9 times out of 10, when we see a leopard up in a tree, it will be in the marula tree. Some of you who are fans of liqueur may well have heard of the liqueur called amarula. And this liqueur is made from the fruits that drop from this tree. They'll probably start bearing the fruits in the next month or so, but only in about January or February do they start dropping and ripening. And they're about the size of a golf ball, extremely high in vitamin C. This bone got carried along probably by a hyena all the way from that same carcass that we looked at earlier. So still another buffalo bone. Looks like a rib cage to me. Just interesting that it's been moved this far away. Let's get a bit closer to the marula tree though. This is the first time I've seen a bird called the black cuckoo. It's just up ahead there, Chandra. I'm not sure if you can see it. Awesome. Look at that. First black cuckoo of the season. Their call rings out. I'm so sad. And this may well be another bird for you to add to your bird lists because they haven't been here in the winter months. Well, finally, we've got to the marula though. And we're going to leave that little black cuckoo there. And take a look at this beautiful tree. I can't really show you much of the bark because it's been covered in mud from elephants that it would have been wallowing nearby and then coming and rubbing up against this tree. Bit of a health spa, you could almost say. But this is the beautiful marula tree. And what a great way to end things off. Not much time left. And thanks so much for joining. We will see you all this afternoon for the next adventure.